Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Apyayantu Mamangani Vapranaschakshushrottram Atho balamindriyani cha sarvani Sarvam Brahmaupanishadam Maham Brahma nirakuryam Mama Brahma nirakarod Anirakaranamastu Anirakaranam me astu Tadatmani nirate Ya Upanishatsu dharmaha Te mai santu Om Shanti 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 Yadi manyase suvedeti Taharame vapinonam tvam Vetha brahmano rupam Yadasya tvam Yadasya deveshu Athanu mimamsya meva tvam Mimamsya meva te Manye viditam Naham manye suvedeti Nona vedeti vedacha Yonas tadveda tadveda Nona vedeti vedacha Yasya matam tasya matam Matam yasya na vedasaha Avijñātam vijānatāṁ Vijñātam avijānatāṁ So we are in the second khanda where the Upanishad is making it very clear that Brahman does not have what we call as Pramana Vedyatvam. Okay, Pramana Vedyatvam means what? That whose existence is established through a Pramana. In fact, if we look at in general, any knowledge which we have gained throughout our life, it has always been by using some Pramana, right? Whether it is sense perception or inference, or you can add something more also, correct? Upamana, Arthapatti and all that. So all knowledge we have gained through some Pramana. And even if we add Veda as a Pramana also here, we have still known things like Swarga, for example. Swarga it doesn't have any Pramana Vedyatvam through Pratyaksha, Anumana, other Pramana, but still Veda alone reveals to us that there is a Swarga. So that Swarga also we again know it through the words of the Veda, but again we objectify it in some manner in our mind, correct? So in all this knowledge, there is a certain manovritti is in what? In fact, one of the common things in all knowledge is there is a manovritti, even though the actual indriya used may be different. In the case of sense perception, different indriyas are there. Or if you don't use any indriya at all, anumana also you can use. But anumana is simply a mental process, correct? But that is also a manovritti. There is a change in your mind happening. Without the mind changing, there cannot be any knowledge. So in all knowledge, there is a certain manovritti is there. There is an object of knowledge also is there. And there is a subject, knower. These three are always there in all knowledge. So any object of knowledge its existence itself is known only through this particular kind of knowledge. See, this particular kind of cognition, a cognition which involves an object of knowledge and a manovritti or a change in your state of mind, and the knower also has to be there present.
Vriddhi means growth?
Vritti means not vriddhi, it is vritti.
Vritti.
Vritti means it is a change or a state of mind, you can say. So here, these three are there, and we say that that means an object exists. Once you know only, you can say something exists, or at least you should, some word also at least should reveal, somebody should say that something like this is there somewhere. You may not have seen it or experienced it directly, but at least through words we can indirectly know, like Swarga. Like if Veda says there is a Swarga, we accept the Veda as a valid means of knowledge, and then accept that Swarga is there. In fact, people work for that also. Not only Veda, other theologies also talk about heaven, and most of the world is only going after heaven, really speaking. So Pujya Swamiji used to say it is all tourism promotion. Okay. Because like any tourism, they present that heaven is like this, like that and all that. Not only that, they also frighten you. If you don't come with me to heaven, you will burn forever in hell. But our people are not worried. I think they will ask, hellfire, is it hotter than Vijayawada or Dubai, whatever, wherever our guys are there? Is it hotter than Muscat? Anyway, so, or somewhere in Rajasthan. So, anyway, so that's not a big deal for us. In fact, our people are not that worried about hellfire and all that, I think, or even if it is there for us, Naraka also is only transient, it cannot be forever. There is no eternal hell or eternal heaven, it is illogical in fact. So, even though the Veda and Puranas, in fact Puranas do talk about different types of Naraka and all that. And even Devi Bhagavatam and all that, if you read, there are some graphic descriptions and all that. So anyway, so that is one thing. But all of that is only in keeping with your papa. If your papa is exhausted, then the Naraka also is gone. Then you have to take another birth according to whatever karma is active at that time. So like this, our theology is believable. See, another important thing we all have to understand is, you cannot avoid beliefs, correct? Currently there is a question, there is a trend that even believing itself is something wrong or it is not proper, correct? Everything has to be scientific in fact. So they are trying to, so somebody even told me that you have to chant Aditya Hridayam standing in the sun. Okay. Pratyaksha Devata, Surya. So you can go out, stand somewhere, provided that it is not 12 o'clock in the noon, somewhere in whatever, anywhere in India, correct? During summer. But standing, then they gave the reason, because it is all scientific. Our rishis are all scientific. Why? Because your skin will generate vitamin D. So only for vitamin D purpose, that whole Aditya Hridayam chanting has been reduced to producing vitamin D. Okay. So that is the kind of thinking which is going on. That is because there is a underlying idea that any belief or anything which is not scientific is not worth it. In fact, most of our lives are lived in belief only, correct? Belief is very important, but whatever you believe should be believable. Understand that. That is something we have to be very clear. What do I mean by believable? Believable means it should not be it should not be negated by any established knowledge. It cannot, whatever you believe cannot be illogical or against established knowledge. It can be beyond this knowledge, correct? It can be beyond the current, whatever this entire knowledge base we have, that is fine. And even whatever many of the things which the Veda says again falls into the same category. Like Papa and Punya are there, means it cannot be established by any science or anything. You can neither prove nor disprove. Such things can be believed. Is that clear? If something is disproved, then that cannot be a belief. But again, that disproof also should come from proper source. Understand that it cannot come from some statistical study of some small sample and all that. There can be, nowadays even in science there are motivated studies and all that. So we have to be a little bit careful. Certain practices have come down to us for ages, correct? Just some kind of a statistical study cannot override it or negate it and all that. And we have our lived experience also is there. So anything we believe also cannot go against our lived experience. So for example, if we say there is Papa and Punya, it aligns with our lived experience, correct? Why? Because in spite of my effort, I cannot predict the result. That is true, that everybody knows that. Every businessman knows that better than salaried people at least, correct? Because whatever effort you put, there is always some risk factor is there. That's what we call Adhyat. Again the risk again is Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Devika. That is there. The Shastra itself talks about that. So there are risk factors and we want to take care of it. And again, so what is that extra factor which is determining the result after whatever effort I have put in? Means that's the Shastra is saying that is your Papa Punya. So that doesn't go against my lived experience. In fact, it aligns with my experience. And then the Shastra also is giving you means to address that, even that unseen result or adrishta. If there are something unpleasant, then there are prayaschitta. You can do that. So in fact, all prayers, any prayer is mainly for creating adrishta. Understand that? Although prayer also has drishta phala, correct? When you are praying, at least, see, even though you are desperate, you are in depression, let us say you are suffering something, at least while praying, you are not doing something stupid, correct? You are not drinking, something like that. So while the very act of prayer itself is having a drishta phala in that you are, at least during the prayer, you have some peace, some hope, etc. That itself is a drishta phala. But prayer is mainly for adrishta phalam, because all prayer, any action produces two results, I told you, correct? And prayers are all for adrishta. We want to create adrishta. Again, that adrishta can be punya to neutralize some papa. It is just punya which will just enhance your effort, correct? And give you pleasant experience, because punya can give you some enhanced success also, in the sense that you can get results more than your expectation. Sometimes that also happens. We only expected something. I expected 50 marks, but I got 90 marks. I don't know how. Sometimes, many times that happens. Everybody has written exam and you prepared only 5, thinking that even choice may dekh lenge, correct? Some choice will be there. And but exactly it aligned. Sometimes you studied very well, but then you have studied both the choices. That is useless, correct? Then there is one question where both the choice you don't know. That is also a problem. So all these things we know. So what I am saying is, everything need not be scientific, and there are a lot of things, in particularly our religious culture, need not be validated by any science and all that, because for us, Veda itself is a pramana. And our religious beliefs, our culture, our way of life, all these things have stood the test of time also, correct? It is not something which is a new fad, which is going to, like bell bottom and all that, correct? When we were growing up, there was one style called bell bottom. In fact, they used to have zips at the bottom also. Okay, I don't know why they stitched a zip there, but that was some kind of a style. Okay, but then it did not last for long. I think it was there for 2-3 years. Even now, if you see some like movies which released in late 70s, early 80s, Even the movie heroes were wearing bell bottom and some kind of weird shirts and all that. But it is only a fad, right? It's not going to last forever or anything. So this is something we have to understand. Our culture, our way of life, it is based on a certain vision of the Veda, and it is not a fad or anything. It is there. It has stood the test of time. So we don't need any validation or anything from anybody. In fact, it should not be scientific, is what I am saying. Already I have told you, Veda also should not be scientific. Then only it is valid. It is useful for me. Otherwise, I will rather study science. Correct? Why do I require our Vedic knowledge or anything? So this point has to be very clear. So whichever may be the means of knowledge, anything is, its existence itself is established only by knowing it through a particular cognition. That's why we say that everything has pramana vedyatvam except one thing. What is that? Because if everything has to be known only through a pramana, what about the knower? Somebody has to be there already to use the pramana, correct? That also has to be established by a pramana, means then you will have an infinite regress. In fact, that is the problem even quantum physics has, correct? Because they say that every quantum system has to be collapsed by an observer. But if the observer itself is a quantum system, means then who collapsed that will become a problem. Then there is a paradox. So they say that it goes into regress and all that. They don't know how to address it. So even here, if everything should have a pramana vedyatvam, means that doesn't work. There has to be somebody who is already there to use the pramana. That is a logical way of thinking, or it's reasonable, correct? No, that is you, correct? That is the Atma. So that was pointed out already by saying Shrotrasya Shrotram, Manaso Manaha, all that is basically pointing out the knower as the one in whose presence only all these things are all working, all the indriyas are working, the mind is working as it is. That knower does not have any pramana vedyatvam. Is that clear? Need not be known through any pramana, because I am already self-existent, self-revealing reality. My existence need not be revealed by the Veda. Veda is not a pramana for Atma Astitvam, we say, correct? To establish, because you are already there, then only you are even reading the Veda. Veda cannot come and establish that you are there. I am already there, I am self-revealing, I did not know my existence by using any pramana. In fact, I already being a self-existent, self-revealing entity, I am using a pramana to know objects and all that. This is one thing. So that's why I am not something which can be known as an object, correct? Yasya amatam. Whatever amatam alone, for that person, this is matam, and that consciousness again is Brahman. Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi. That is where the pramana comes into the picture, correct? Because even though I know that I am a self-revealing, self-existent entity, then what about all the objects? The entire objective world is there. We are not denying the perception of the objective world or anything, so how do we account for it? Then Veda says, Jagat Karanam Brahma, Yato va imani bhutani jayante, ye najata nijivanti, yat prayanti abhisambhishanti. So from this all the beings are born, by which everything is sustained, into which everything resolves. That is that Brahman. Janmadyasya yataha is the sutra also. There is a Brahma Sutra. Brahman is first shown to us as though it is something other than me, only it is presented, correct? Initially Brahma is also a Vedya. It has to be known. Brahman is introduced by the Shruti only as something to be known. So Brahman has pramana vedyatvam, Atma does not have pramana vedyatvam to start with. And how is this Brahman presented? It is Jagat Karanam. But if it is Jagat Karanam, means it is Anantam. If it is Anantam, means it cannot leave you out, correct? It cannot be separate from you. and still be Anantam. Because when we say Anantam, we say that it is Desha Kala Vastu Aparichinna. It doesn't have any limitation with reference to space. It doesn't have any limitation with reference to time. It doesn't have any limitation with reference to objects. So this Brahman again cannot be also Jada. Correct? It is presented as Jnanam, Prajnanam, all this Vijnanam. So many words are used. So this Brahman, once it is presented like that, again it doesn't have any Pramana Vedyatvam because it cannot be separate from you. That is very clearly implied in that. And even from my standpoint, when I see it as a knower, every object is known only in my consciousness, correct? My consciousness is never away from any cognition which is taking place. The content of each and every cognition is myself in the form of consciousness. So whenever I cognize anything, chair means I say, so I have chair knowledge, you can say chair cognition, or you can say chair consciousness is, correct? Chair consciousness is means that chair cognition has taken place. Then if I say table consciousness is means table cognition has taken place. In all this jnanam, or in Tamil we say per-arivu, correct? Normally arivu means whatever the mental, whatever is happening in your mind, correct? That is the arivu, we say, or jnanam, or cognition. But in each and every cognition, even when the objects are changing, there is one invariable which is always there. That invariable is what we call per-arivu in Tamil. Or here again we just use jnanam only. You have to understand, or Shuddha Chaitanyam and all we say, correct? To distinguish it from a Vritti Chaitanya which is manifest in a particular Manovritti, we have to distinguish it from that and say that Shuddha Chaitanya. But only the Manovritti or the mind alone is not where the Chaitanya is manifest, because Shruti has said Brahman is Jagat Karanam and it is Anantam. Understand, each and every object also is not away from this consciousness. In fact, only when this consciousness is manifest in the object also and in the mind also, any knowledge takes place. So even the existence of any object for you is not devoid of consciousness being the content of that object. Is that clear? So from all this what we understand, there is a consciousness which is manifest in the mind. There is a consciousness which is manifest in the Manovritti also. When we say consciousness manifest in the mind, that is the knower. Consciousness manifest in the Manovritti or the particular form of mind which takes the form of the object, that is the Manovritti, correct? That is called the Pramana Chaitanya. There is a Pramatra Chaitanyam, Pramana Chaitanya. Knower also is manifestation of consciousness. The means of knowledge also manifestation of consciousness. The object of knowledge also is the same consciousness. That consciousness is what we are talking about, and it is not an object of your thought. It is not an object of any particular word, correct? Yet vacha anabhyuditam, yet manasana manute, all these things we saw.
What is it?
So that is why it is said as amatam, correct? It is not an object, but still it is known. Manye viditam also is said, correct? Or yasya matam, tasya matam. So even though it is not an object of knowledge, it is known and it is being taught. But still you will have a question, how to know this? How do I know this? Because the one thing is, as soon as you say it is not an object of any thought, means people will then come in. Our people are already, they say it is beyond mind, beyond thought. Okay? So don't stop studying everything. All that you have studied, you have to vomit. There should not be anything. All books are all useless. Okay? Just sit and go beyond everything. Means, I don't know, you have to roll your eyes back and I don't know where it will go finally. Okay? You have to anyway come back. Whatever, wherever you roll your eyes back, you have to again roll it back and come into this world. So beyond and all, is only making it mystic, correct? There is nothing, the beyond also is a thought in your mind only. In fact, at the end of the day, beyond mind also is a beyond mind thought in your mind. That is also pervaded by the same consciousness. Is that clear? So that's why the Shruti, next Vakya, is very, very important. So how do I still know? You are saying it is Vijñātam Avijānatam. For those for whom this is not an object of knowledge, they know. But it's not only to be known as not an object of knowledge, further we have to know it properly still. It is one thing to say that Brahman is not an object of knowledge. Okay, then by implication only the subject alone is left. But is it also the subject? Means even subject also is only a status, correct? There is no subject without object. They are all mutually dependent always. The status of being the subject also is mutually dependent. So how do I know this Brahman? Is it the subject or the object? Do I require any special experience? Because that is the greatest problem nowadays, correct? No point reading books or listening to some guru and knowing all this. You should experience Brahman. Now, does the Shruti even talk about any special experience and all that? Shruti doesn't talk about any special experience. In fact, that's the next thing we'll see. What is that? Pratibodha viditam matam. The Pratibodha viditam matam. Amrutatvam hi vindate. Atmana vindate viryam. Vidyaya vindate mritam. So how do I know? Do I need any special experience for this Brahman? There is a special Brahman experience. In the white heat of meditation only that experience will happen. Is it like that? Means no. Shruti is very clear. It says Pratibodha viditam matam. Pratibodham means what? Bodham prati. Bodham prati means what? In each and every cognition. This prati word is used even in any Indian language. Right? Prati dinam we say even in Tamil. Right? Although it's Sanskrit only, and in Hindi also it must be there. Prati din and all that. Prati din means what? Every day. Or sometimes we repeat it 2 times also. Daily. In day to day, also in English sometimes we repeat like that, day to day. But this is Vipsa, there is one, that is a unique Indian language concept, I think. Like even in Tamil we say, Gramam Gramama Pona. Means 2 times if you repeat something, means it is basically for, there is a infinite or whatever. You don't really know how many, but it is for a undefined number of times, correct? Gramam Gramama means you went to many villages. Or almost all the villages you went, correct? In a particular state or whatever, district and all that, depending on the context. So this kind of a usage, bodham, when you say 2 times if you repeat also, means every cognition. But that usage is not there in English. But Indians do this. We went village. Like this. Village we went. Means it's a pure translation of Tamil into English. Sometimes you go like this and tell in US and all, they'll be looking at you like this. Oh, what is this guy saying? Okay. But anyway, that is our English. Okay. Now there is an Indian English also, so don't worry. So you can tell them, you put in Microsoft Word English Indian. Then this will work. It won't show you red underline, okay? Anyway, the thing is, bodham prati means so Brahman, this Atman has to be known in each and every cognition. In fact, it is the content of every experience, correct? None of us lack experience, understand that. Experience is not a problem, in fact. But interpreting the experience and gaining knowledge from your experience is most important. In fact, all the experience which is required to know oneself correctly is already there. nothing more than dream is required, correct? Because even in waking at least, you are the knower. The known is, by just being the knower only, the known has become different from you. So it is somewhat difficult for you to appreciate that the known also is the same consciousness as the knower's consciousness. Means that is somewhat difficult to appreciate, you can say. But then what about the dream? The dream, while dreaming again it is similar to waking, correct? In the dream you have also become one of the knowers. And there is a huge world, space-time, everything is there, mountains are there, rivers are there, other sentient beings are there, they are all interacting with you. And finally one tiger started chasing you and then you woke up. Okay, you started running desperately and you fell down also. And the tiger has come almost, it is pouncing on you, then only you wake up. So the dream tiger managed to wake you up, and then you see, even then there is some effect even in waking, correct? Your breathing has quickened, some adrenaline is there, and then you realize that everything is only a dream. And that dream, in the dream you are the knower, you are the known, and whatever knowledge took place also is not separate from you, everything is only you. That you is again not the waker, understand that. It is the invariable Atma who is there, who is the waker, who is the sleeper, who is the dreamer, correct? I am the one who is awake, I am the one who is dreaming, I am the one who is in sleep, correct? So that is, in fact, our entire life is nothing but cognition, correct? Bodham only, correct? Pratibodha viditam matam means, the pratibodham means that is your entire life, in fact. Because you get up in the morning, bodham, something. Then you can even do whatever prayer I told you, correct? Even there is a bodham of your kara. And then only we say karagre, vasante, whatever, Lakshmi and all that. So, this bodham, wherever you go, you come to class also, bodham. You are listening to the Guru, bodham. Then you sleep in the class means what? No bodham. But that also is a bodham, correct? That there is no bodham is a bodham you can recollect when you wake up in the class or after the class somebody wakes you up. Okay? Or when from no bodham you get into a dream. Dream also, then there is a new bodham. It starts bodham. Everything is bodham only. And in all this, what is the invariable means? I am there, correct? I as the Atma, as the Chaitanya Vastu, nothing can be away from me. Bodham na Tamil irukke bodham. Bodham illada word. Bodham is Arivu. So Arivu, Perarivu, like this we had words in Tamil, like I already told you. So Aridal, good enough. So this word, bodham, and then some response also, correct? As an individual, your entire life is nothing but cognition, and then that response is the problem many times, because some cognition you like, some you do not like. So your likes and dislikes and all come as an individual into the picture also. So, bodham and response, that is the entire life. But in all this, what you have to recognize, what you do not recognize, that you are the invariable Chaitanyam, that is your reality actually. In fact, from the dream itself, dream is the greatest thing which Bhagavan has provided us, correct? Because imagination also is there. But in imagination there is no cover. That I am not the waker is not covered in the while imagining. While imagining also you can imagine so many things and all that, which is all only in your mind. So the whatever you are imagining is entirely in your consciousness alone, correct? It is your consciousness alone. You can understand that. In imagination also there is there. But the dream, the beauty is that there is a covering that you are even the waker or sleeper and all that. and then the knower also then springs up there newly in a particular space-time. So there is an avarana and then there is a vikshepa. So that avarana vikshepa only we have to understand. That same avarana vikshepa is there even now. Due to that avarana only you think that you are separate from the object. In imagination there is no separation, correct? Whatever object you are imagining also is you. There is no confusion there. But in waking there is a confusion because there is an avarana in waking also. The Shuddha Chaitanya has become knower. As soon as you become a knower, then the object of knowledge becomes different from you. You become limited. Same thing happens in dream also. But when you wake up from the dream, at least we are able to appreciate that the entire dream world, all the objects in the dream world, all the knowledge which took place in the dream, and the knowers in the dream, all of them are only one vastu. It is me, myself, the Atma alone, Atma Chaitanyam alone is manifest as both the object and the subject and also the means of knowledge. All three are one reality. We can appreciate that. Now the Veda also is revealing the same thing here. And that is what you have to appreciate. Bodham prati means what? In each and every experience, the content of each and every experience is you only. You are the knower, you are the known, you are the means of knowledge. That is how you can know Brahman. There is no other way of, whatever may be the experience in fact. Whether it is some experience in waking, some experience in dream, or when there is nothing to be experienced in deep sleep, even then you are there, and the deep sleep experience also is not away from you, correct? You are the content of, or you go into some samadhi, let us say. You do meditation and go into samadhi, you have some special experience also. Even that also has to be interpreted in the same way. The Veda says that in each and every experience, you are the content of that experience. You are not just the object of cognition. You are not just the cognizer, nor you are the means of knowledge, but you are all of them put together is only you. You are the only one who is there. You are the Satyam. That's why the word Satyam is important. Because Satyam means what? Yad rupena yad nischitam bhavati tad rupena tanna vyabhicharati. Once you have known something in some form, or it is this is its nature, like that you have known something, correct? It never changes from that. And that is only applicable to me. Why? Because I as a conscious entity, my consciousness never goes away. Everything else is changing in each and every experience, but I, the conscious entity, Shuddha Chaitanya, that is always the same. Its nature never varies. Whether I am sleeping, whether I am dreaming, whether I am awake, my nature is the same. It is the same in fact. In fact, I don't really sleep. I'm not really awake, or I'm not really dreaming. I'm always just conscious. These things are all just coming and going. It may become evident to me and all that. But I am there as I am always as the conscious being. That is the only reality. Means whatever comes and goes, that becomes mithya, we say. Correct? Mithya and satyam are two words we use. Satyam means that which is existent always as it is, without any change. And it can never be negated because of that very fact. Mithya means that which is not self-existent. Means it borrows its existence from something else. So all objects of cognitions are all borrowing their existence from the same consciousness alone. There is only one consciousness, which is non-dual, self-revealing, self-existent, and which is always there as you, I, correct? The very I, the spuranam of aham itself is only because of this consciousness. And the cognition of each and every object also is only because of this this consciousness. So it has to be known as the content of all three, the Triputi, whatever we say. And that's how you have to know in each and every cognition. Pratibodha, then it is viditam, correct? Otherwise, if you know it as an object and all, that means it is aviditam. You are not knowing. Na veda, you don't know. But most of the people have a tendency to only objectify even Bhagavan, correct? All theologies are only objectifying Bhagavan, and they are even locating Bhagavan somewhere physically and say that you have to go there. So all of them are saying that either, in fact, some of them even say that Bhagavan is the cause of the world, but the world itself is different from Bhagavan still, correct? That is Dvaita really. Or other Abrahamic theologies are all same thing. God in heaven created this earth and whatever else in 7 days also. I don't know. And in that I think they say that sun itself was created only the 6th day. So how did they calculate the days before that also we don't know. So maybe there are some calculation. Those theologians will know that. But they are saying something like that. But then you cannot ask who created heaven then. Or where was God before heaven was created? Because if you say God only created heaven, then where was he before? You cannot say he was in hell. If somebody creates hell for themselves, they cannot be God, I think. Correct? So you don't know where this God was and all that. If you keep questioning this theology and all, they'll say, shut up, you have to believe me. Otherwise you will go to hell. Okay? So just believe me, that's it. Or even, so that is why their faith, even if it is illogical, you have to have faith. That's why we should not translate Shraddha and all as faith, understand that. Shraddha is not faith, Shraddha is taking the Veda as a pramana. And a pramana means it has to be anadhigatam and abadhitam, correct? Those two characteristics you should remember. Any pramana has to reveal to me something which is anadhigatam. Something which is unique, something which is not available through any other means, but it cannot be negated by any other means also. That is the another most important thing. So this point you have to remember. And so the Veda, whatever it reveals to us about Ishvara, is perfect. It cannot be, it is not illogical. It says Bhagavan is both material and intelligent cause. So we don't have any gender problem and all that. Okay, because material cause means always mother. Your own body has come from your mother's body only. Where did it come from? And then Nimitta Karna is father, you can look upon. Or both are one and the same, so we have Ardhanarishwara also. We have no problem there. So, our vision of Bhagavan and the culture which is based on that vision, it's all very meaningful. In fact, the entire religious culture is only to understand this vision of Bhagavan as all-pervasive reality. And then when Vedanta comes, it is one more step further, correct? Only one step further. What is that? That all-pervasive reality cannot be other than you, correct? It cannot be away from you, or it cannot be an object of your cognition and all that. If it becomes an object, then it becomes limited. So, it is the same Chaitanya. Your Swarupa and Bhagavad Swarupa cannot be different. It is one and the same. So, it is only a small jump from there. That is Vedanta. And there cannot be any moksha other than this, correct? Any other moksha is all only tourism promotion, correct? At the end of the day, because then you have to again talk about Salokyam, Salokyam, then what? Samipyam, Sarupyam, and then Sayujyam and all they talk about. So something like that.
Meaning?
Salokyam means you go to the same loka. I told you already, I think. Then, or you were not there already. Anyway, so Salokyam means you go to the same loka as Bhagavan. So you go to Vaikunta, or Kailasa, or Golok Vrindavan, or whatever it is, heaven. Samipyam means there also, see, Salokya means you are in the loka, but I think you are in some Tara ticket kind of thing. Tara ticket is sometimes better, correct? Because you are sitting in the front.
Last bench.
So, last bench. So then it's not good enough. Then you have to go near Bhagavan. Samipyam. That also is not good enough because you look at yourself. you are not like, Bhagavan is still bright and whatever, okay? His Rupa is whatever, Saumyam Rupam, and you look at yourself, not good enough, okay? You have a complex, then you have to become similar to Bhagavan. Even in Rupa also, you become like Bhagavan. Finally you merge with Bhagavan, but still you are separate. I don't know how. That means you are like some amoeba, bacteria in Bhagavan's body. That's all we can say, correct? Finally. So this is the kind of thing which is promoted with as theology or as something great. So I don't know what is so great about this. But yeah, some people again have a pravritti towards all these things. Whatever you say, there will be some followers. Okay, so that's how it is. So anyway, any other way of thinking or any other moksha is not really possible. Moksha as something which is desirable is only this moksha where you recognize that I am the invariable in each and every cognition. I am the source of all happiness, in fact, and I am not subjected to any limitation with reference to space, time or objects. That can be the only real moksha, because our fundamental problem is one of self non-acceptance, born of the recognition that I am limited. Okay, born of the cognition, or I have to say self-judgment. There is a certain self-judgment which is again born out of ignorance only. Because my real nature is covered, I have a certain, and I am self-conscious enough to make a certain self-judgment that I am limited. Because I identify with the knower alone, correct? That is the problem really. So I identify as a knower alone, but in reality, knower, known, and the means of knowledge, everything is pervaded by one consciousness, which is I really. That is the knowledge which is being talked about here. Pratibodha viditam matam. So once you know this, what? Amritatvam hi vindate. Correct? The phala is also given immediately. Amritatvam hi vindate. Once you know this, then you become free from death. How? Because you are free from time itself. There is no limitation with reference to time. This consciousness is never born, and this can never die also. Body is born, that is fine. Nobody is denying that. There is a birth for the body, and body again undergoes changes. We call it Shadbhava Vikara and all, correct? Asti, Vardhate, Viparinamate, Apakshiyate, Vinashyati, and all that. There are certain things are there. Okay. So this Shadbhava Vikara, we say it is there, it grows, then it also metamorphoses, you become an adult, then it has to decline, old age and all that, then it dies, and again it will be born. So because there is no, see, if you say there is a law of conservation of mass, law of conservation of energy and all that, then that Sukshma Sharira or Prana and all that also cannot go anywhere, correct? It has to come back in some other form. It makes sense. So, but scientists cannot even accept there is something other than or how do they even define life? They don't know how to define that. Our mind and life and all, the entire Sukshma Sharira part is either it's beyond them, because they are only studying some objective reality as per their own whatever paradigm, and then they are only restricting themselves to only physical and all that. Whatever is intangible, although they have a lot of intangibles also they have in science, through inference and all they know, like black hole and things like that, but still they are not able to even conceptualize life and mind and all these things. It's a problem for the science. But anyway, if we accept that there is something called life which is animating this body, and there is a consciousness which is animating this body, which is manifest in a particular mind, those things also cannot be destroyed just like that, correct? It has to be conserved. And again there the Shastra only has to come and say that there is a Jiva who is other than the body and who can take another body all these things again are believable, I am saying. It's not something which can be negated by science. It cannot be proved by science nor negated. And if our Veda is revealing that, there is no reason why I should not take it as a valid knowledge. That's how we look at it as a astika. Astika means I accept the Veda as a pramana. So that same Veda again further comes and reveals this truth to me that I am the content of everything, in fact, in each and every cognition, the known, the means of knowledge, the knower, I am the one underlying reality of all that. I am the Satya Vastu, I am Satyam, and everything else becomes Mithya. By knowing that I am Satyam, means I have now transcended. You can use the word transcend here really. Otherwise, normally this transcend word also is a problem. Going beyond, you have to transcend your mind and all that means somehow they say that then you have to again sit in meditation and go beyond mind and things like that will come into the picture. But here really the transcend means we have to understand that correctly. That I am not subjected to space-time limitations. I do really transcend space-time because space-time is in me really. I am not in space-time, correct? That is the kind of knowledge one should have, and this knowledge again takes place in your mind alone. Manasa eva anudrashtavyam. Because this knowledge also is a vritti again, another vritti, because this vritti comes and knocks off your notion that I am a knower itself. That is the beauty of this vritti. That's why this vritti, see, all other vritti only is about a limited object, correct? The mind has taken the shape of a particular object. So that vritti, all other vrittis are not akhanda. They are all khanda means they are revealing to you an object which is separated from everything else, correct? Which is khandita, means basically if I know one thing, then I know this thing as not all other things. If I know a chair, chair is only chair, correct? Chair is not a table, chair is not something else. So it is that vritti is khanda vritti because it is separating a particular object or an entity from everything else and revealing it to you as this. But now this vritti which the Shastra Acharya Upadeshena, whatever the vritti is happening in your mind to reveal the truth of yourself, that does not have any one particular object. In fact, it comes and knocks away your very notion that you are the subject or you are the knower, or it gives you this knowledge that the knower, known, means of knowledge, all are you. And because of that, you are none of them in reality, in fact. Correct? You are free from all these things, but all these things are in you. Means it is not about any particular object or it is not khandita. That's why this is called akhandakara vritti, because it is not about any one particular object or anything. In fact, it removes the wrong notion that you had about yourself as a limited subject. So that removal is only done by the Shastra and the Guru Upadesha, and the result of that is what? Amritatvam hi vindate. So Amritatvam, there is no other way. As long as you take yourself as a limited being, bound in a particular body, mind, sense complex, then Maranam has to happen. There is no way you can avoid that. Is that clear? But here the Shastra is pointing out your reality as the one who transcends all these differences, but in whom only all these differences still appear. But that's fine. That doesn't matter really. We are not bothered by that. The Mithya cannot affect the Satyam in any way. Understand that? The dream wife cannot make a brahmachari into a grihastha. Right? You wake up and you find you are a brahmachari, but you are dreaming about some wife. It doesn't matter. It doesn't change anyway your status or anything. Like that, whatever is there here also, this is all also only, it's only mithya only. that you take yourself as something separate from all the objects, and because of that you are some limited being. All these notions, they do not have any reality. So that is what one has to realize or recognize, or whatever word you use, or you have to know. Simply know is enough. Because people actually are complicating all these things by bringing in new words are there. You have to self-realization, means somewhat different from self-knowledge. Simply you say, you have to know yourself. That is good enough actually. Shastra also is talking only about bodham and all that, correct? Or jnanam. Jnanam, vijnanam, sometimes a certain differentiation is done because jnanam can still be indirect knowledge. Paroksha jnanam, but it has to be a jnanam which has transformed you, correct? You are able to see yourself transformed. You are able to see yourself in the light of the revelation of the Veda and the Guru Upadesha. That is important. But that also is jnanam only, it is taking place in your mind. Understand that? But people use all sorts of terms to make it mystic. Or intuition is another word which is used. But intuition also, intuition means you are intuiting about something means. Anyway, intuition is not counted as a pramana and all that. Some people will say, why are you studying the Veda? It has to be only known by intuition. Intuition is some other mental process or whatever. But whatever you are intuiting about also is another object only. Understand that? In fact, Veda will say the intuited object, the intuition and whatever is the means for your intuiting is you. That's what you have to understand at the end of the day. Whether you use intuition or realization or recognition or whatever the word may be, that knowledge has to be that you are the Satyam, you are the invariable content in each and every cognition or recognition or realization or whatever it is. That has to be understood. That is the way you can know this Brahman, correct? That is the only way you know yourself as this Brahman, and that will alone give you this Amritattvam. Amritattvam is the phala. So the rest of the things we'll see. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.